Today I'll show you how you can make your frunk do this. Just lift this, you do your thing, and you just let it go. And it fully closes for you. This product was sent to us free of charge by TLER to review in our channel. Of course, we have reviewed a lot of products from TLER in the past. They've got a large selection of Tesla accessory. And here is the page that we are reviewing the product from. So this is $169.99 right now. And if you look at the description and the title, it covers the Model S and X because oftentimes it's just for Model 3 or Y. Now this covers the entire sexy lineup here. Just choose the model that is applicable to you, your specific car, because the kit differs from which one that you get. The Model S and X have totally different kit. Model 3 2017 20 21 to Model 23 because it is going to get different batteries, different configuration in the front. So pick the model that you have and then just hit add to cart. I know that is $169 right now, but let me show you how you can significantly save on that. So in coupon code, just type in Shiva Tesla. And when you do that and hit enter, you will see that Shiva Tesla actually knock off $45 from the cost. So bringing the total to just $124.09. And for this product, I think this cost is very reasonable because it actually closes the frunk for you. Just keep in mind, this is affiliate code. So we do make a very small commission at no additional cost to you, which greatly helps us bring videos like this in the future. Thank you very much. Let's continue. So this is the before install where if you open this frunk here, you got to put this down. And you have to press on here so that it fully closes. It does not automatically close. Now let's make that automatic. So this is everything in the packaging. Here's the motor, here is the latch component. I'll show you how to hook this up to the existing latch. And so this is the motor, this is doing all the heavy lifting. The rest is just literally getting the power. So you've got the positive and the negative terminal here. That all power goes to this control unit. And then you're going to plug this into the motor. And that's it. That's the entire installation process, is to get power for this motor so it does the job. And there's not much to this. They send you a pry tool. They send you a couple of wrenches here. They send you this, which I commend them for. This is for the Model Y, where you have got the power, the positive terminal here, where we can hook this up. So they do send that. And they send you a couple of zip ties to tie in the wire, and then finally they send you this piece. They told me this was supposed to be some kind of a temporary fix, but I'm going to show you where to put this in anyways. Now for this process, of course, we got to remove this front panel. To do that, we first have to start with that top HVAC panel. When you remove that, it's super easy. Then there is going to be some 10mm bolts. I'll show you how to remove that, but let's just start with that part. This part is super easy. You just have to use your hands to pull this out, and this pops right out. Next, before we remove those bolts, just be careful. There is one more here. It's a plastic clip, and you take the pry tool that they sent and prop this out and remove this plastic clip. After you remove that plastic clip there, I would go ahead and remove this part because oftentimes when we remove the screws, we forget this part. So it would be super easy for you to do that. You just prop this out. There is no screws or anything. The clip just comes out from all directions here. And once you open this, there is this one plug, and you just have to apply some force to the end here and then pull this out. Don't pull on the cable. You still have to hold on to this clip there and then pull this out, and then it just comes right out. So that panel, I would just leave it there. Now that is free. Now let's go ahead and use our 10mm socket wrench to remove those two and then those two. So there are 4 of them there. Once you remove those socket bolts, this thing just comes out, no issues. Just go around and lift on this, and this whole panel just removes. Now this next part is optional, but I would also remove this socket screw and that one. These are both 10mm so that you can remove the HEPA filter and have an easier access to the battery. Now once you remove those 2 screws, this thing just comes right out. This is your giant HEPA filter in the front. Now we have this exposed, the battery. It is going to be easier to route because we have everything exposed here. And this is the part that we're going to be working on. This is the latch. Now, just in case the alignment gets mixed up later on, you can use like a painter's tape or electrical tape to mark the location of your bolts that go in here. Just be on a cautious side, but I don't think that is going to be an issue because we're just going to be removing this. We're not going to be messing around with any of the parts inside. We're just going to add this new latch mechanism to this existing one, but we do have to remove this too here. All right, before we start messing with this piece here, we have to remove this plug, and to do that, you just pull this out, and once this is out, you push on it a little bit, and then this just comes out. So that's it. This plug is removed. We just gotta remember to put this back on later. Now we need to use 10mm socket wrench to remove these 2 sockets from here. So we will just remove both of this here, and I'm gonna fast forward this part because you know what to do. So remove that as well as remove this. One thing I will say is be careful removing this and not let it drop because I have definitely done that, and it's painful to try to retract this from the bottom. So be careful, don't let this screw drop. Another thing is when you are in this part, when you are removing the second socket screw here, just remember this thing will just fall out. So hold on to this and put it to rest. Now we're going to be working on that piece. Now let me first explain how this works, the current system works, and what we are adding, because I was a little confused, and once I realized what was happening, I was like, oh, so this is very, very straightforward what they are doing. And it kind of makes you think like, why didn't Tesla think of that? Anyhow, so this is the component that sits here, right? So this is the component that sits here. And what this does is when you are bringing the frunk latch down from here, so imagine my finger is the frunk latch, what it does is if you just let it sit here, nothing is gonna happen because this is not moving. But the minute you start putting pressure in this right here, then this swings back and then it touches this contact. So it swings back, allowing you to go all the way through here. So it swings this way, so it swings this way, and then it goes all the way here and it touches this contact. So these are electrical contacts that tells the Tesla, okay, I have closed enough, now go ahead and close this latch down and know that the frunk has been closed. So there is this pressure switch is there where you press on it, or contact switch, you press on it, this goes in, that means Tesla knows that the frunk is closed. If this is out, Tesla knows that the frunk is not closed. So that is how currently it operates. So again, this is the latch from the top, the metal bracket that comes through. And right now, if you just let it go, it'll just stay here. It won't do anything. That is why you have to push it down. So when you push it down, it goes all the way through and it locks it. And then it tells us, okay, here you go. The frunk has been closed because this now grabs onto that latch here and says, okay, the frunk is closed. Tesla knows that the frunk is closed. Now, when you unlock the frunk, what it does, it releases this part, the entire part, so that it is back to how it was. And the mechanism is here. When you press on this, you look at it, it opened it, now it is back to normal. So that is how the current system works. Now, the only thing that we need to do is for Tesla to understand that this contact switch could be pressed, but automatically. And for that is where we are going to bring in this motor. And what this motor does is, if you look at it, we're not changing anything in this system other than the fact that we're gonna bring in this motor. So this motor just sits right here without affecting any of the current workflow, but it'll just have this hook, and this hook is going to be hooked onto this metal clip there, the pin there. So we would literally just insert this hook here. And now what happens is it has its own sensor. So this is the sensor that the motor has. So if I remove this part, the motor has this sensor. So imagine if it is sitting like this, the frunk, the latch, the top latch is gonna come in and it is just going to land here because it's going to apply some pressure because the frunk is a little bit heavy. So when it does that, this motor has its own contact sensor here. So when you press on it, this contact sensor goes in, then it activates the motor. So this activates the motor, press, it activates the motor. And when the motor activates, what happens is that if if you look at it here, would be installed like this. When the motor activates, this hook here is going to pull this part down. So it is going to pull this part down when the motor activates, and it will touch this sensor for the Tesla. So all we are doing right now with this new install is adding a new sensor so it knows when to activate the motor. So this activates the motor when this is pressed. And once the motor activates, this just pulls the latch down so that Tesla knows that we need to close it. That's it. That's all we're doing, is helping this to go here. That's all we're doing. So we're not changing anything on the Tesla other than we needed to figure out how to pull this down when the front latch component is sitting here. Right now, Tesla does nothing because it has a very heavy duty spring here. Now, all we're doing is helping this go down by pulling using the latch, and that's it. Now let's go ahead and install this. So two things. One is they may send you this pin. Ask them if your car requires this, but in my understanding, you no longer need this. This used to be a thing that, well, they were figuring this out. This was a temporary fix, but if you do need it, where this goes is right here. So you would put this pin here and then slide it and secure it in place right here. So that's where this pin goes, but you may not need this pin. In my case, I'm not gonna need it. So then all there is left to do is first, we're going to remove this spring so that we can reinstall it after having the hook, because I want the hook to go underneath this spring so it does not detach at any point. So I am just going to pull here slowly, don't let this spring swing, and then I'm also going to remove this temporarily so that I can put that hook. And all we have to do is, again, align the motor like this so that the motor faces towards the front. Get this hook and simply insert it in this pin. So remember, that hook just went into the pin. And then I am going to put the spring back in right here with the hook and the pin, and spring goes in. That's it. That's it. That's how simple this is. Now we are just going to install this back on, run the power, and you're done. That's how simple it is. Now for this next part, have that 10mm bolt that you removed earlier and simply take this combined panel. So this has the top and the bottom panel here, and align it so that you can find the holes from where we installed this 10mm bolts earlier. Again, this needs to be very much flushed. So that's the tricky part, is make sure that all of this is flushed. And once you are sure this is all good to go, then we're going to go ahead and install the 10mm bolts that we removed earlier. Again, super simple process. Just need to make sure that this whole thing is aligned well. Now on to powering this whole thing. As I said, there was the positive and negative terminal. For negative, you have a lot of options. You can go here, you can go here, you can go in the back, but for positive, there's really just this option. So if you remove this jacket from the positive terminal, you're going to see the positive terminal there. All you have to do is insert this positive terminal, and we are going to put the little bolt that they sent to secure it. So I say for positive, we're gonna be going here, and they were nice enough to send us a notched clip for the positive terminal. So what we would do is simply insert this and take this bolt that came with it, the nut, and then we are just going to secure this into its place. This is the wrench that they sent, and this actually comes in pretty handy. We are trying to secure this in place. So this is good to go. And for the negative terminal, as I said, I'm going here, and you can use one of the wrench that they sent to loosen this negative terminal. And once you have successfully loosened enough where you can slide this through, you simply slide it through. That's it. Now we are going to secure this in place so that the negative does not move around. This is also 10mm standard, so rather than struggling through with the little wrench there, let me just secure this in place. Now I haven't done anything else. I connected the positive, I've connected the negative. Now we just have this plug, and we're just going to simply insert this plug to this port here. And that's it. So we make the connection. Now we should have power for this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and test this, and then we're gonna proceed with cleaning up the wires. Now before we test it, we are going to just simply plug this in. That's all we're gonna do is plug this piece, and we should be ready to test it out. So this is what it looks like once everything is said and done, and we're gonna test this out. A couple of things I want to remind you. This is an electronic component, and this has a lot of latches and springs. While you are working on it, once the system is energized and powered, please don't put your hand anywhere near here, because there is a latch that could pull your finger, squeeze it. So do this at your own risk. Don't put your hand anywhere near here because it's a motorized piece now. And just to show you why you should take safety precaution, I'm gonna close this out and just watch what happens here. That's a pretty loud operation there. So that's normal, that's supposed to be, but just keep that in mind that you gotta be careful where your hands are here. As I explained earlier, is that now the Tesla's latch, the one on the top, when it lands, it is going to apply pressure on this, right? So it is going to land right here, and it will apply pressure. And as soon as it applies the pressure, it helps the Tesla know that it needs to close it out. Then it just closes this out. And that's it. Now the latch will sit right here in a closed position. Nothing changed. And nothing changed on the Tesla side, because this is the motor that Tesla uses to open and unlatch the frunk. And we are still able to do that by simply pressing on this button. So when you press on that button, it opens and it unlatches it. Now it is in that open position again. So now the frunk has fully opened, and to close it, while you're closing it, again, here, it closes. So the only thing that motor did is now this sensor activates, and then it helps Tesla close this latch. That's it. All right, moment of truth. I haven't put everything back on yet. I want to test it out how this works. The light is on the front side. Everything seems to be working. So let me just see if I can just drop this kind of close by. So here, did it. Good job. So this is the inside view of what this looks like. Now after this, it's all about wire routing, where you want to route the cables from, put zip ties, all of that, and put this all back together. So the only thing for me is that if I just leave it here like this, it does not close, and maybe it is a little bit of an alignment issue that I have with the sensor there. If I just drop it like this, it does not get to that bottom part where it pushes it. So I do kind of have to leave this down, and when it is up to that location, then it fully closes it. But just gently letting this down does not work for me. So this is one of those accessories that I'm like, Tesla should have just done this since the factory. It would have been so much easier for them to install a small motor down there where it detects this bracket and just helps you close your frunk. It would have been so much easier for them to do it, but here we're at, and this device does an amazing job. I like the installation process. Really straightforward, simple installation compared to a fully automatic frunk where you gotta remove the struts and go through a lot of process. This was super simple. Once you understand how this works, it is a relatively low risk installation and a product that shouldn't affect anything with the OEM components here. It does the job, again, relatively simple, relatively inexpensive compared to some of the other products that we have reviewed in the channel, so I do commend them for that. And I hope that this solves people's problems where you're not pushing down on that frunk. And maybe I'm talking about a first world problem here, but this does help me quite a bit because now I don't have to think about fully pressing on it. I can take my stuff out and just let the frunk fall, and it will take care of it on its own. So I really like that about this installation. Overall, a great utility, a great product for those of you who are looking for a more of a hands-free frunk experience. The only feedback for TL Yard is that perhaps figure out a way to make that, you know, that bracket where this top part goes and then it sits so that it presses on that bracket and then that activates the contact sensor so it pulls it down. I wish that was electric or magnetic where it touches it and it recognized that there was that, it barely touched it and it recognized and it would pull it. That's the only thing that I have a feedback for this company. Other than they executed really, really well, but having that magnetic or electric where it recognizes that it is a metal touching that piece, then it automatically pulling it down, then make it even a softer close. Right now, you do have to kind of let this drop or you have to kind of let it push a little bit. If it is super light where you are like barely dropping it, it is not going to work because that bracket that you have that is sitting like this does have to bend a little bit for it to recognize, for that contact to touch it and then make it work. So this is my only feedback that I have for TLR. But as always, I am really interested in knowing your feedback, your likes, your dislikes, anything that you want to let me know or TLR know, please leave those in the comment section below. As I said before, this is an open forum where we help each other out, all the Tesla community, everybody watching this video. So if you already had this device, please share your user experience. I've only had this for a day, so of course it's working well. I don't know how it's gonna work in like 2 weeks, 3 weeks time frame. So please drop those in the comment section below because this product is not entirely new. It has been around for a couple of months now. I just hadn't had a time to just sit down and get this installed. So please let me know your feedback, your likes, your dislikes, any issues you ran into, and how did TL Yard handle those queries when you ran into issues. Please drop those in the comment section below because that helps us bring improvement and that helps TL Yard bring improvement because I have asked them to monitor the comment section as well. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found today's video helpful, please give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and come back again soon for another Tesla accessory video.